Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is James Ramos from At the Quarter Pole, and I have your 10-20-22 Breeders' Cup report. And first out of the Pollock report, it states that Latruska, the Eclipse winning mare, will be running in the filly and mare Breeders' Cup Sprint, not the distaff. She's choosing to go from a mile and 1/8 to 7/8 of a mile. This is a great move for this horse because the trainer also Faustino Gutierrez doesn't believe this horse has enough speed to hang with Malafat or Ness, but he's going to a much easier race, going from the mile and 1/8 to 7/8 of a mile race. And he's going to be the prohibitive favorite. That all changes now. Camaro will be the second choice if he even runs in a race, because Camaro might be running in the sprint. In all With all that information right now, my picks, I still stand pat with the picks I like of Obligatory and Carmel Swirl, the two Bill Mott horses. The good thing for me, both those horses could even be higher odds than they were predicted. Carmel Swirl is going to be 12-1 with Obligatory at 8-1. You're going to be much higher with those odds. I could see Latrushka going starting off at the morning line from 7-5 and be bet down all the way to 2-5. I'm not taking it. He is a good horse. He's better at 7/8 than going around a distance. But is a 6-year-old mare and getting kind of long in the tooth. Had a lot of hard campaigns the last couple of years. And at 7-5, leaning toward less than that, I just can't take him on the top spot. You might have to spread him in your pick threes and pick fours. It just makes sense because he is a champion horse with championship kind of speed. I'm still sticking with Obligatory and Carmel Swell because of the better odds. I would still have to kind of open up my ticket a little bit more on my horizontal bets and add him to that's Latruska. I'd add him to my horizontal bets. Don't want to, but since it's into the race, why get beat out in a triple way if you had other prices in the race by a world championship mare? That is one report. The second report comes from the Blood Horse Magazine. Blood Horse Magazine states that Cyberknife, champion 3-year-old colt, will skip the mile and 1/4 Breeders' Cup Classic, but he is going to the Breeders' Cup Mile. That better suits the horse because he won't have to run against Flightline or Life is Good or Olympiad. In my opinion, this is a way easier spot than running the Classic. Now, there's the give and take of this race. It's a much easier spot for Cyberknife, but he goes from a mile and 1/4 race to a mile. 8 furlongs, and this horse doesn't really start getting going by at least about 6/8 of a mile out of the race. I still like Jack Christopher in the race. If he goes to the sprint, then it'll be slowed down Andy. But if both of those two horses, for some reason, go to a different race or out of the mile, then you would have to seriously consider Cyberknife being a number one contender. He should be between 8 and 10-1 and should stay at those odds because of the reason for it being because that last race in the Pennsylvania Derby was not really a really good race for him, but he regressed a little bit after winning the Haskell. So you could see that in horse racing where you take a regression after running such a good race. Other news coming out today is that Rich Strike is still on the fence. Now, the way it was reported on the news today that Rich Strike is either going to run in the Breeders' Cup Classic, the $6 million race. It's a mile and 1/4. That race out of the Classic, the Lucas Classic at Churchill, was a race that was a marked improvement for what he's been running. He ran second, beaten by a nose by Hot Rod Charlie. He's going from a mile and 1/8 to a mile and 1/4. And this horse is not in the top echelon tier of Life is Good or Flightline. But third and fourth in a $6 million race will still pay the ownership of a pretty good paycheck for that race. I would use them in the superfectas and the trifectas with my top horse being Olympiad and, of course, Flightline being in the second tier, either in the box or key wheel on that race. If he does go to the Clark, it's a way easier spot at the Clark. It's like an overnight handicap. It's a G2 race going from a G1 at a mile and 1/8. Does it make sense to me? It depends on the ownership. If you're willing to pay 10% of the purse to get this horse to run in a Breeders' Classic, that just shows how much confidence you have in your horse to maybe upset the apple cart. Is that realistically? No. I still think this horse will run in the Clark because it's an easier spot. He likes Churchill Downs. He's won the Kentucky Derby. He came in second in the Lucas Classic. This as they say, horse for courses, and definitely Rich Strike is a horse for course at Churchill Downs. As we know, the Breeders' Cup is going to be run at Keeneland Racetrack in Lexington, which is a different composite of track. It's a different ground, different scenery. So I'm leaning that Rich Strike. I like to see him run in the Classic. We'll go into the Clark. And that is set from at the quarter pole. James Rounds for your evening report. If there's any other information coming down the pipe, I'll let you know. I'll be making extra videos. And just to let you know, folks, just have a pleasant night and a good evening. Bye-bye now.